Ladies and gentlemen, would you please take your seats? We are starting. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 104th National Remembrance Day Ceremony. I invite you now, as you are able, to please stand as we honor those who made the supreme sacrifice. We will begin this ceremony by acknowledging that we are on Aboriginal land that has been inhabited by Indigenous peoples from the beginning of time. As settlers, we are grateful for this opportunity to meet here, and we thank the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Long before today, as we gather here, there have been Aboriginal peoples who have been the stewards of this place. And in particular, we acknowledge that we are on land of the Robinson-Huron Treaty. And this land is on which have gathered the traditional territory of the Anishinaabeg people. We recognize and deeply appreciate the historic significance of this place. We also recognize the contributions of Métis, Inuit, and other Aboriginal peoples who have made both in the shaping of and the strengthening of this community in particular, and our province and this nation as a whole. As settlers, this recognition of the contributions and historic importance of Indigenous peoples must also be clearly and overtly in our collective commitment to make the promise and the challenge of truth and reconciliation real in our communities, and in particular, to bring justice for murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls across our country. Color Party Commander, march on the colors.
Color Party, carry the colors. Color Party will march on the colors by the center flag. March!
Ladies and gentlemen, I would invite you to join with me as we honor our nation with our national anthem, O Canada, being played by the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 25 Drum and Trumpet Band. The last post will now be sounded by Royal Canadian Legion trumpeter Dave Sweet, following by 2 minutes of silence. They shall not grow old, as we who are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Deposit the colors.
Color party, deposit the colors. Color party, hot hand, done. Move to the right, right, turn. Quick, arch.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. We welcome now to the podium Comrade Helen Stewart, President of Branch 25 of the Royal Canadian Legion.
I'm a little shorter. Welcome, welcome all. A special welcome to Brigadier General Stefan Tardif, CD, Deputy Commander Reserves, Canadian Army Doctrine and Training Center. Welcome to all of our dignitaries, and especially our most honored guests our veterans, and currently serving personnel. Welcome everyone to our Back to Normal Remembrance Day commemoration. It warms my heart to see the colors, the marchers, and the bands, and you all together again, and being back in the GFL Memorial Gardens for a regular Remembrance Day service. Courage and valor. It is just too simple to say that we honor your courage. It's just not enough to say thank you for your service. Actions do speak louder than words, and has been Branch 25's mantra to assist all veterans, be they members or not. All you need do is ask. Again, we need your courage. If there is someone who requires assistance and they are brave and courageous enough to get it, we're here. I express my heartfelt thanks to each and every one who has served, are serving, and are being deployed yet again, and of course to those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. To those military folks who helped out with the pandemic, wildfires, ice storms, and flooding, for those veterans who are out there helping other veterans, it does not go unappreciated or unnoticed. Regardless of our differences of opinion, regardless of our political affiliations, we are of one mind today, and that is to remember. We remember fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, cousins, and total strangers. We thank them, we honor them, and at the going down of the sun, we will remember them, lest we forget.
Thank you, Comrade Helen. At this time, I would invite Comrade Padre Helen Smith, Padre of Branch 25, to lead us in prayer.
Please join with me in prayer. Holy One, as we gather today, it seems like so long since we have gathered to remember. With all the concerns of pandemic and isolation, we wonder if we have forgotten just how important this day is. For there is not a family, not a person, who is not touched by the message of remembrance. We are saddened to remember the lives that were lost and the cost that so many paid, that the world might not have to live in fear of oppression and violence. Today we gather, Holy One, remembering all who have served in wars, conflicts, peacekeeping missions, and here at home. We remember all who have given their youth, some even their lives, or those who have come home injured physically and emotionally. May we always remember them not only as soldiers, but as people, someone's child, parent, sibling, spouse, neighbor, or friend. Help us to remember with compassion the young lives that were lost. Help us to remember with gratitude the sacrifices so many made so freely. Holy One, on this day when we remember the sacrifices for those who have made for our nation, help us to remember with hope. Hope for today and hope for tomorrow. Hope for the children of the world. We pray that we will never need to remember them in sorrow or loss, but in joy and thanksgiving. May we continue to be faithful in our remembering. Amen.
As you are able, I would invite you again to please stand and join with me as we sing the hymn which is printed in your service brochure, Faith of Our Fathers, led by the trumpet and drum band of the Royal Canadian Legion. very much. Please be seated. It is my pleasure now to call upon the Mayor of Sault Ste. Marie, His Worship, Mayor Christian Provenzano. Sir.
Good morning. It is an honor and a privilege to be here with you today. I would like to take a moment to thank everybody who has taken their time or made the time to come here and join us in this ceremony. I would also like to acknowledge our MPP, Ross Romano, our MP, Terry Sheehan, our Mayor-elect, Matthew Shoemaker, today's guest speaker, Warrant Officer Brian Gagne, President of the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 25, Helen Stewart, and our Silver Cross Mother, Donna Crossan, mother of Sergeant John Wayne Fott. On behalf of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, I would like to specifically acknowledge and thank the 49th Field Regiment, its leadership and its members, and the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 25, its leadership and its members, for working together every year to give our community the opportunity every year to come together and remember. Today is about remembrance, the act of remembering and the importance of memory. Today we remember the men and women from our community, our region, and our country who have served our nation in times of peace and in times of war. As the great conflicts of the past, World War I, World War II, the Korean War, as these conflicts recede into history, the importance of memory becomes all the more important. With each passing year, there are fewer veterans left whom we can draw on for firsthand recollection of these wars and their horrors. With each passing year, our link to the past becomes less of a physical one and more of a mental one. And with each passing year, keeping that link strong becomes more and more the responsibility of younger generations. To those of you who are younger in this audience today, let me say that this work falls to us. It is up to us to carry forward the past, its stories, and its lessons. It is up to us to preserve these memories. Of course, memory is a living thing. It grows and we add to it. And on this day, it isn't just confined to the more distant past. On this day, it is just as concerned with the events of yesterday as it is with the events of 50, 70, or 100 years ago. Because the service of the men and women of Canada's armed forces is ongoing. And so our memory must too be ongoing. Our remembrance must encompass the Canadian peacekeepers who have served in trouble spots around the globe. It must extend to the veterans of more recent conflicts, such as the Gulf War, Kosovo, and of course, Afghanistan. We must acknowledge and thank all those who continue to serve our community and our country to date. So today we remember. We remember the service of the men and women of our armed forces. We remember those who fought so that we could be free and those who fought to free others. We remember those who stepped forward to keep the peace in volatile situations and put themselves in harm's way to protect innocents from harm. We remember the valor and sacrifice of so many of our soldiers, our sailors, and our flyers. We remember those who came home physically wounded, sometimes with lives that were never the same. We remember those who returned mentally scarred, with wounds that couldn't be seen and that were rarely understood. And we remember those, too often in the prime of their life, who made the ultimate sacrifice in service of this country. Of the fallen, we remember their loss and the loss that was felt by those close to them. We remember the parents who lost children and the children who lost parents. We remember the husbands and wives who lost companions. We remember the extended families and friends who've lost someone dear to them. As a community and as a country, we remember and we mourn for them. And we promise to keep their memories alight. As a close, I would say this. To all of our veterans, past and present, yours is the thanks of a grateful community and a grateful nation. On behalf of the City of Sault Ste. Marie and on the residents of Sault Ste. Marie, thank you for your dedication, your commitment, and your sacrifices. And finally, I would ask this of all of us assembled here today. On this day, the 11th of November, 2022, let us look within ourselves. Let us reflect and choose to renew our commitments as individuals, as a community, as a society. Let us commit again to ending war and seeing peace. Let us commit again to using the freedoms and the privileges afforded to us as Canadians to help build a better world. And let us commit again to this day, Remembrance Day, a sacred one. And in doing so, let this be our pledge. We will remember. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. At this time, I would like to again call to the podium Comrade Helen Stewart, President of Branch 25, who will introduce to you our guest speaker for today.
Our speaker today, it gives me great honor to introduce him. He was awarded the Medal of Bravery, the Sacrifice Medal, the Southwest Asia Service Medal, plus 2 bars, the Campaign Star Afghanistan, plus 1 bar, the Campaign Star Iraq, and the Canadian Forces Decoration Medal, CD. He was in the service from 2006 to 2018, and retired after 14 years with the Canadian Special Operations Regiment and the 2 Royal Canadian Regiment. He had the following significant courses or qualifications during his tenure: the Joint Terminal Attack Control, a Special Forces Operator Gunfighter, 4 command tours in Afghanistan, 1 combat tour in Iraq, 1 tour in Jamaica, training the Jamaican Defense Force, and he finished 3rd in the Free World Warrior Competition in Amman, Jordan. He received his Bachelor of Business Administration from Yorkville University and Police Foundations at Sault College. He's married to Joyce, and they have 3 children, Aiden, Grace, and Sophia. This vet is giving back still by volunteering with CADS, No Limits. It's the Canadian Adaptive Snow Sports. Please join me in welcoming this year's guest speaker, Master Corporal Brian Gagnon, MB, CD.
Good morning, everyone. Firstly, I'd like to thank each and every one of you that are here today. Many men and women before me have stood at such podiums and spoken wise words for Remembrance Day. I thought it prudent to start off with a quote. Shakespeare once wrote, "Praising what is lost makes the remembrance dear." We often attribute Remembrance Day as a somber affair, and there is a place for that feeling on this day. However, I believe that this day is for praise, glory, and honor, as battle is where true heroes are forged. Driven by a principle and not by reward, in a warrior's life, death is all but certain, the time and place are undetermined. Trained not only to fight, but to make a difference, whether in foreign or domestic affairs, each and every soldier has their part to play. The men and women stood together on the battlefield, ready to pay with their lives. There is a warrior in each and every soldier that puts on the uniform. I can say this, every time I was on a mission, each and every day, I only thought of returning home. The objective is to stop the enemy at the doorstep, because if you don't, they will come here eventually. To those that didn't make it home, it is our collective responsibility to keep this nation free and safe. I'll leave you with one last thought, one of a fallen friend, colleague, and mentor. While laying on the battlefield, despite his injuries, his only concern was that of his team. We all live and die for each other. In his memory, I leave you this. If you can't be safe, be dangerous. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Brian. And now we will have the presentation of this year's Ed Dinsdale Award by Vice President, Branch 25, Pierre Breckenridge.
Brian, Comrade President, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, as this year's Poppy campaign, once again, I want to acknowledge the generosity and support of our citizens in Sault Ste. Marie, as well as our businesses and community partners. Your generosity never ceases to amaze me, and it's humbling to be part of this great organization that supports veterans. At this time, I would like to acknowledge all serving, past serving, and unfortunately our comrades who didn't make it home. Can you please stand if you're serving or past serving? I'd like to acknowledge you if you're able to. Please stand. Thank you very much. Please take your seat. As in any organization, we always acknowledge excellence, and at this time I would like to present this year's recipient of the Ed Dinsdale Memorial Award. This award has traditionally been given to somebody who has served the Legion and by extension served veterans over a great number of years. This individual has been a member for 50 plus years. He's been a member of the band who played in numerous parades and services. He's been our service officer who's assisted countless veterans. Even when he himself was struggling, he never failed to show up and serve the veteran. He is also our museum curator and somebody who has taken great pride in displaying and safeguarding many, many stories, pictures, medals of past service people. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome and acknowledge this year's recipient, Comrade Ron Rouleau.
It is my pleasure today to welcome after-class octet and members of the Northland Barbershop Chorus who will sing for us Mansions of the Lord.
Let us take time to remember. The Silver Cross Mother at today's service, and representing Sault Ste. Marie's fallen, Sergeant John Wayne Fott and Master Corporal Scott Vernelli, is Donna Marie Crossan. Mrs. Crossan is Sergeant Fott's mother. Sergeant Fott joined the Army at the age of 25 and proudly served and honorably with the 2nd Battalion Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry for 17 years. The last 3 years, he served with the 1st Battalion Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry. Sergeant Fott volunteered for 7 tours. His last 3 tours were in Afghanistan. During this 3rd tour, Sergeant Fott was killed by enemy action on January 16, 2010, while he was on patrol with this section. We thank Mrs. Crossan for being here and representing all Canadian mothers who have lost a son or a daughter in the military service of Canada. At this time, we would like to acknowledge the service of more than 10,000 citizens of the District of Algoma who served Canada in the conflicts since Confederation. We ask that you not applaud during the laying of the wreaths. Silver Cross Mother, Donna Crossan, escorted by Lieutenant Colonel retired Lance Knox and Sergeant Kent C.D. If you have not done so, could you please pick up your wreaths? Wendy and the Legion Hapkido group will be placing you by groups. We have over 120 wreaths to be laid today. Representing the Government of Canada, Terry Sheehan, MP. Representing the Indigenous Peoples of Canada, Jackie Fletcher. Representing the Royal Canadian Legion, Branch 25, President Helen Stewart and Sergeant at Arms, Comrade Annetta Golder. Representing the Government of Ontario, Ross Romano, MPP. Representing the City of Sault Ste. Marie, His Worship Christian Provenzano, Mayor, and Mayor-elect Matthew Shoemaker. Representing the Canadian Armed Forces, Honorary Colonel Clyde Healy. Representing the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Detachment, Michael Fenchuk. Representing the Ontario Provincial Police Sault Ste. Marie Detachment, Laura St. John and Ryan Zanata. Representing the Sault Ste. Marie Police Service, Chief Hugh Stevenson. Representing Afghan veterans, Frank Ayezi and Veno Humalamaki. Laying wreaths on behalf of the military, Legion, and public safety. 49 Sault Ste. Marie Field Regiment, Royal Canadian Artillery, presented by Lieutenant Colonel Brian Nadon, and escorted by Chief Warrant Officer Preedom. '33 Service Battalion, okay.
Since we get to the regiment's presentation, we'll make 2 minutes.
We have no one from the 33 Battalion. Yeah.
Just leave it.
Yeah. 33 Service Battalion. Sault Ste. Marie Fire Services, Chief Peter Johnson and Michael Oliverio. Sault Ste. Marie's Officers Mess. Sault Ste. Marie Warrant Officers and Sergeants Mess. Sault Ste. Marie Junior Ranks Club. Sault Ste. Marie's 49th Pipe and Drum Band. Ladies Auxiliary Royal Canadian Legion Branch 25, Bingo Trust. Air Force Association of Canada, 432 Wing, Algoma Wing. Royal Canadian Air Force Algoma Wing. Royal Canadian Legion Drum and Trumpet Band. Canada Border Services Agency. Algoma Treatment and Remand Center. Royal Canadian Legion Color Party. Algoma Veterans Association. Laying wreaths in memory of. In memory of Maureen Jackson, Poppy Committee volunteer, 30 years, and Bernie Jackson, World War II veteran, King's Own Yorkshire Light Infantry, presented by family. In memory of Lieutenant W. T.J. Newman, founder of the Sea Cadet movement in Sault Ste. Marie, and the 25 ex-Sea Cadets killed in action during World War I and Korea. The Wreath of Remembrance will be presented by the Simon and Watkins family. In memory of Jack Cooper, 4th Battalion, Royal Canadian Engineers, Life Member, Branch 18, Témiscamingue, Quebec, presented by Liz Hamel. In memory of Russ Radford, Royal Canadian Navy, World War II, presented by his family. In memory of Sergeant Thomas Snell, Jr., World War II, presented by the family. In memory of Sergeant John Wayne Fott and Master Corporal Scott Vernelli, Afghanistan War, Victor Crossan, World War II, and Ren Moody, World War II, presented by family. In memory of Private Léon Roy from the Donaldson grandchildren. In memory of Private Léon Roy by David Roy and Donaldson family. In memory of Léo Talfer, presented by family. In memory of all serving members of the Lauzon family, presented by the Lauzon family. In memory of Frank Milosevic, Royal Canadian Navy, World War II, presented by Dan and Vicki Burns. In memory of John Harker Corey, World War II, remembered by the family. In memory of John Corey, veteran World War I and World War II, remembered by his family. In memory for all our family that fought in the Second World War, and for Kenny Edwards, who is a full-time soldier in Edmonton with the 1st Service Battalion, presented by Mrs. Jerry Pierce. In memory of parents Richard Shafik, Applejohn, World War I, Royal Army Machine Gun Corps, and Lucy Cook, Applejohn, Royal Air Force, presented by Mike Applejohn. In memory of father and mother-in-law, Lloyd Dupe, World War II, and Sadie Jones, Royal Air Force, presented by Mike Applejohn. In memory of Roland Victor Thomas, on behalf of Jill Thomas. In memory of Jim Lanthier, 35 years dedicated service to the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 25, presented by Angelica Lanthier. Laying wreaths on behalf of the municipal, provincial, and federal entities, the Corporation of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, the Corporation of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, second wreath, Parks Canada, Sault Ste. Marie Canal, National Historic Site, Parks Canada, Fort St. Joseph National Historic Site, Algoma Family Services, Sault Community Career Center, Sault Ste. Marie Museum, United Way, Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma District, Ontario Lottery and Gaming, Group Health Center. Laying wreaths on behalf of the cadet and youth organizations, 46 Royal Sovereign Sea Cadet Corps, Newman Navy League Cadet Corps, 2310 Royal Canadian Army Cadets, 155 Borden Grey Air Cadet Squadron, Scouts Canada. Laying wreaths on behalf of the churches and groups, Willow Grove United Church, St. Luke's Cathedral, Holy Trinity Anglican Church, Salvation Army, Westminster Presbyterian Church Ladies' Aid, Central United Church, Emmaus Anglican Church. Laying wreaths on behalf of the various local companies, Construction Equipment Company, Arthur Funeral Home, RF Contracting, Metro Churchill Plaza, Northwood Funeral Home Cremation and Reception Center, O'Sullivan Funeral Home, Lock City Monuments, Sault Ste. Marie Airport Development Corporation, Superior Chrysler, Gateway Casinos and Entertainment Limited, PUC Services, Toronto Dominion Bank. Laying wreaths on behalf of the service clubs and fraternal organizations. Knights of Columbus, number 932. Knights of Columbus, St. Joseph Council. Chevalier de Colomb, Conseil des Grands Lacs, numéro 7999. Hatherley Lodge, number 625. Club Calabrese of Sault Ste. Marie. Algonquin Chapter number 102, Royal Arch Masons. Elks Lodge number 341. Keystone Lodge, AF and AM number 412, GRC. Algoma Lodge number 469. Fraternal Order of Eagles, Hayden and Gooley, Erie number 4061. Sault Ste. Marie, Lodge of Perfection, Scottish Rite Mason. Zonta Club of Sault Ste. Marie. Royal Purple Lodge, number 155. Kiwanis Club of Sault Ste. Marie. Kiwanis Club of Lakeshore. The Lions Club of Sault Ste. Marie. G. Marconi Benefit Society members. Retired Women's Teachers of Ontario Sault Ste. Marie branch. Retired Teachers of Ontario District number 3. Fogler Furlan Club. Elettra Marconi Society. Laying wreaths on behalf of groups and associations. Centre francophone de Sault Ste. Marie. Sault Ste. Marie Regional Catholic Women's League. Historic Sault Ste. Marie Métis Council. Ontario Finnish Rest Home. Extended Care Vandale Manor. F.J. Davy Home Auxiliary. Canadian Red Cross. Sunshine Travel Club. Laying wreaths on behalf of the various unions. United Association Union Local 800. Iron Workers Local 786. United Steelworkers Local 2724. Unifor Local 1359. United Steelworkers Local 2251. Ontario English Catholic Teachers Association Huron Superior Unit. Sault Ste. Marie and District Labor Council. Sheet Metal Workers Local 504. United Steelworkers Association, SOAR, Chapter 17. Customs and Immigration Union, Local 26. Algoma District 2, Ontario Secondary School Teachers Federation, Sault Ste. Marie's Firefighters Association, presenting is Josh Scott, Algoma District Elementary Teachers. Laying wreaths on behalf of the post-secondary institutions, schools, and school boards. Algoma University, Huron Superior Catholic District School Board, St. Mary's College Student Council, and Cora Collegiate and Vocational School. At this time, we invite any others who wish to place a wreath, please come forward. We would also like to thank and recognize the generous donations from the following businesses and/or unions: Wishart Law Firm, LLP, Henderson Metal, United Steelworkers Local 2724, and the Royal Canadian Legion Ladies Auxiliary.
I want to acknowledge and thank members of the 49th Sault Ste. Marie Field Artillery Pipes and Drums for playing during the laying of the wreaths. Please enjoy now a musical presentation, firstly by the Pipes and Drums of the 49th Sault Ste. Marie Field Artillery Regiment, RCA, and then by the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 25 Drum and Trumpet Band. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. He was the son of a brigadier general. Both father and son enlisted on the same day in 1914. And by April of the next year, the son was at the front in an artillery battery close to the French-Belgian border. A high explosive shell burst overhead, killing instantly 22-year-old Lieutenant Alexis Hilmer. With no chaplain present, Major John McCrae, second in command of the brigade, conducted the burial. A personal friend of both father and son, the loss moved McCrae deeply. In response to that death and all of the deaths in the first year of the war, McCrae wrote words which have captured the soul of sacrifice. I invite now to the podium Petty Officer First Class Haley Poole of the 46th Royal Sovereign Sea Cadet Corps, who will recite the epic poem In Flanders Fields.
In Flanders fields, the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard, amid the guns below, we are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from falling hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Thank you very much. One privilege that we will have today, following the service, is to go into the Memorial Tower. It is open for your viewing immediately following the service, and you can see the restored imagery and storyline that it has to tell of the service and sacrifice of citizens of the District of Algoma during the last century. In 1980, just before he was assassinated while saying Mass, then Archbishop, now Saint Oscar Romero of El Salvador, reminded the world that to seek peace is our right and our duty. We go from this place with a mixture of gratitude and sadness for those who paid the price for the peace we enjoy with their lives. May we also go forward with a new sense of a vision of peace that comes from a committed life to living loving kindness toward one and all in thought, in word, and in deed. May God grant us the courage and the commitment to seek nonviolent ways to bring peace to all of God's children, bringing courage and commitment and loving kindness to life in all that we do. Go with God's blessing and your life on your life and your living, now and always. Amen. Color Party Commander, recover the colors.
Color party call it. Color party by the center. Quick! March!
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as you are able for the royal anthem, God Save the King, played by the Royal Canadian Legion Drum and Trumpet Band. And would you remain standing following the anthem? Thank you. All units, prepare to move out. Color Party Commander, prepare to march off the colors.